Today is Thursday, May the 30th. I hope you're having a great day in the Lord as we are learning about can Jesus restore my relationships this week. It's what we've been spending time on. We looked on Sunday, this last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the story out of Mark chapter 5, right? Jairus' daughter, and we looked at the woman who had been bleeding and how God restored those relationships.
Yeah, Jesus healed them physically, which gave them back a relationship, yeah.
So here's the questions based off of that text. It says this: how do you help people who are separated from those they love, married couples at odds, parents and teenagers, best friends having tiff, or business partners? How do you help people who are separated by those they love?
I assume this question means separated because of a rift.
Yes.
Not just separated by distance, right? There's a separation by distance. There's separation that we've chosen, whether we wanted to choose it or felt forced into that. We've chosen that, and it can be a difficult thing to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
When it's actually more difficult to be physically in proximity to each other, while being emotionally or relationally so distant from this, right? That chasm can feel unbridgeable even at times.
I think how we help people, at least in my experience, what I've done to help people in these situations is something that I'm not the best at. I'm just to be honest with you, but I'm learning to be better at all the time, is listening. Maybe you struggle with that. But as a third party person between these two, I would say warring factions, right? Even if they're just best friends at odds, it's kind of it's this side versus this side. There's something that happened to cause division amongst them. And to be a mediator like Jesus, I have to choose to step into both the messes and listen. Because sometimes the things that are being thrown at the opposing party, the things that we say, oh, I did it for this or I did it for this, aren't usually actually the real reasons behind the rift. It was just the last straw that broke the camel's back. So choosing to step into the situations and finding out different ways. Something that Adam has taught our staff for a long time is, in order to fix a problem, we have to name a problem, right? Well, so that means we have to get to the bottom of what is the underlying problem. What is this place that's making these two war, so we can start there and bring healing to that.
There's something in our human nature, I think, that we want to fix the thing, right? And especially, and not to stereotype genders, but especially, I think, for guys. We want to walk in and be like, okay, I heard that, do this, and it's all better now. And we walk away like, we are the hero. That rarely works. It never happens to work out in the end. So often it's messy. You have this person's story and that person's story, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle there. So there's really three versions of what happened going on here, and you're hearing this one, hearing that one, and trying to discern the one in the middle. And I read a great article a while back. You're talking about listening. A great article, and the title of the article was just the ministry of shutting up. And so often it's tempting to talk. Dead quiet air feels awkward and uncomfortable sometimes. But I often get to sit with couples, and you do sometimes too. Sit with couples and or friends or whatever, they're going through hard times, and I just kind of say, hey, what's going on? This is awkward, isn't it? You're waiting for me to talk here. It's uncomfortable, and I just wait. I just wait, and I listen, and I hear. Sometimes I had a while back. I had a couple. It was in my office, and they were talking, and one person in the couple just looked at me and said, "Aren't you going to say anything else?" I was like, "No, we're not talking about me. I have issues. But that's not what we're talking about right now.
And you don't know what's going on.
And I don't know. And I could jump in and be like, I could teach and I could explain. I could be way off base and totally wrong. And I can actually, you can too. If we walk in and start talking, we flail about with our words, we can actually make it worse.
Yeah.
And we can make that divide grow wider because we don't have context and we aren't listening with wisdom and discernment. So listening, discerning, and then just offering grace and time. It's not going to heal unless there's grace and time given there. It didn't break overnight. It needs time to heal. And it has to have grace. It's not going to, truth. We have to stand on the truth of God's word. We start with Jesus, but sometimes truth can be really harshly delivered, and we have to deliver that truth with grace.
Yeah.
We have to healthy doses of grace in there to get it to heal.
You said that healing takes time, and I think that's the biggest thing is no matter what, even if there is a solution to fix the issue, It's gonna take time.
Yeah.
More time probably than anybody wants it to take, because that's just the nature of it. You said something. You were quoting I don't remember who you were quoting, but I remember you did the quote of how trust is lost like a light switch, right? When we have this trust, we can shut off the light. It switches off like that. You can lose trust, but to gain back trust, that healing, it's like a thermometer. It takes a long time to get to. So you can lose it so quickly, but it takes time to heal.
Yeah. You know, I shared it in a meeting the other day, didn't I? But it's that thermostat you set on the wall, and you can walk into a house that's 80 degrees, and you want it to get down to a nice cool 72, and you can set the thermostat, but you got to sit in the heat for a while it gets there. But you walk into a well-lit room, you can walk over and turn the lights off immediately, like that, and that's how you lose it.
Yeah, and so similar to these things, when you're stepping in and trying to help people, again, how you're helping people is you got to recognize, like you just said, you're going to sit in the heat for a while. And not because y'all want to stay there, but it takes time to heal.
Yeah.
It takes time to get to a place of health. Number 2, when there is tension in relationships, do you tend to confront, to ignore, or withdraw? I think we all do it differently, and depends on the situation, right? I think I tend to, depending on where it's at, have different things. So like I've actually done all 3 of these things lately. I remember a situation a few weeks ago where I confronted because I was just tired of it, right? And so I was like, and that wasn't really actually helpful in that moment. I remember another situation when there was tension there that I just ignored it and moved on because I didn't know what else to do, right? I just kind of panicked and fear, so I just ignored it. And then there was another time a few weeks ago, I was in another situation because tension happens in relationships. It's messy, where I just kind of withdrew because I was tired of watching it unfold, and I didn't know what else to do. So instead of just ignoring it, I just kind of withdrew into myself. But I know I've done all 3 of these things, and as we've already pointed out in the first question, none of those are helpful. I mean, but they're things that I have a natural tendency to do, and I think you do too.
Yeah, none of them are helpful unless you do them well. So like confronting can be healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy confrontation. Now confronting in that kind of way is not ever helpful. But to go something head on and confront it, that can be healthy. I think for me, I tend also to do things all 3 ways here. Not always the best way, but I think when it's things in our church staff and our church leadership and structure, I tend to confront those things. I go at it and try to confront that in a healthy way, as healthy as I possibly can. But I'll confess right now to everybody on the internet, in my life, in my marriage and things, I'm a withdrawer. I withdraw, not to sulk and pout and go off and hide somewhere, but I just get quiet. I just withdraw from the conversation, right? And I'm learning not to do that, and I'm getting better at that all the time. But that's how I tend to do it there. The only way to really ever deal with these things here is to confront them in a healthy way, which is not an angry way. Angry confrontation never works.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm glad you clarified that, because again, we need healthy confrontation, but usually my gut reaction isn't healthy, which is why I need to pause, right? And I need to assess in wisdom what the appropriate thing is. Sometimes I think withdrawing is healthy too for everyone, hitting pause to a situation. Hey, let's go, let cooler heads prevail, right? Let's take this moment, hit pause, and let the tension decrease so we can actually have a confrontation and talk about this healthily.
So one thing I tell couples a lot, and if you've sat in my office, maybe you're one of the couples I'm referring to here. This is in general, not in specific at all, but I share 10 steps to resolving conflict, and we walk through these things together. All premarital counseling I do goes through this, and then other couples I talk to, and there's 10 steps. And one of the early steps is to choose a time and a place to meet and talk about it. In that moment, when tensions are high, it's difficult to really resolve things.
Yeah.
And so, like for my wife and I, the example I use all the time is that we, in our marriage, we have historically, for 22 years now, our place is the kitchen sink. For some reason, we do all of our best resolution at the kitchen sink, and while we're doing dishes or we're cooking or whatever is happening there, and that's where we do it at. And maybe yours is still on the couch at night or on the porch or wherever it's going to be, but you choose a time and a place. And then from the moment you choose a time and place till that moment, you just kind of let yourself lean into Jesus. so you're ready in that moment to bring some resolution to things.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 3, what do you observe Jesus doing with this woman and with Jairus' daughter that you might use to help restore relationships in your circle of influence?
Yeah, he identified the issue, didn't he? He identified the issue that this is the thing. He recognized when the power went out from him to the woman that had been bleeding. He recognized her condition. When he went to Jairus, she's not dead. She's asleep. He recognized her condition.
Yeah.
Now, she appeared dead to everybody who was there, but Jesus knew she's going to wake up in a second. He recognized the condition through his lens.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we can do the same thing. We talk to people. We can choose to view things and relate in situations through the lens of the world, what they say, or we can choose to view it through the lens Jesus says it's in.
And I think it's very good to remember that not only we see things through the lens of Jesus and we recognize the issue, but we also recognize that there's hope at the end of it, right? Both of these people, especially the woman, she would have been in a very similar situation. A few weeks ago, we talked about leprosy and being cast out, being pushed aside, and that the culture that the leper was living in was so God had these rules, but they went extreme with the rules to protect themselves. Same thing kind of with this woman. God had some ways to protect the community, but because she was consistently bleeding, she would have been like a leper in their midst. And a lot of those times, and we actually know from scripture, she kind of was hiding it publicly because she didn't want to be cast out. But she was living in a constant fear of, if I'm found out, I'm no better than a leper. Right? And I think it's so sad because I wish she would have had a community that loved her through her brokenness and pain.
Yeah.
But she didn't until Jesus, right? And Jesus restored her. And just honestly, as church people, as followers of Jesus, our job is to meet people in their brokenness and where they're at and give them a connection and lifeline to the creator of the universe and to walk with them through the mess. That means you're going to get dirty. I'm not going to even say you might get dirty. You're going to get dirty messing with people and helping in their mess. Follow Jesus. But that's what you're called to do. You're sent into the mess, not to be affected by the mess, because you're supposed to take the light of Jesus with you, but you're sent in and you're going to get dirty as you continue to follow Jesus. That's how we restore the circle of influence, or restore relationships in our circle of influence. The last thing is, do you have any relationships that you need Jesus to restore? I'm just be honest with you, all the time. I think we all do, because we're all broken humans. We all have people that I don't have a person on top of my head, but if I spend time thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, I need to fix this. Or I need to go back to this person, because I'm not perfect. I'm a mess. You are not perfect. You're a mess. There's always someone else that as we walk this earth until we see Jesus face to face, there's always going to be someone that we're going to have to restore a relationship with and let Jesus do the healing in.
Yeah, I echo that. I do. I'm not going to name them here. It'd be more helpful for you actually think through the ones that are in your life at this moment.
So, Adam, before we're sent from this place, we're about to go into a weekend. It's almost June, and it's exciting. We have VBS coming up in June. If you haven't signed your kids up for VBS yet, you should do that. We would love to prepare for them well. And the second thing is camp's coming up too, so sign your kids up. If you don't sign your kid up soon for camp, it's going to get a lot more expensive. And we want to help save you money. So, just make sure you do both of those things. VBS is free, camp is not. Sign your kids up. But before we log off here, before we stop our time, why don't you talk about our first Sunday in June together, our Saturday weekend together?
Saturday and Sunday both.
I'm still getting used to that.
It took some time, didn't it, when we became the Connect Christian Church? Just a couple Sundays ago, I was on one of our services in Carl Blanchton on the stage, talking offering, and you can give in person or you can give online at goconnect.church. Because it's still new, right?
Yep.
The same's true of our North Heights campus on Saturday nights. That's new for us still. We're learning how to phrase things the right way. And so Saturday night at North Heights, Sunday morning in Carl Junction, and online all the time. We're going to talk in John chapter 11. It's all about Lazarus, how Jesus raised Lazarus' friend from the grave again. That is one of those passages I love preaching. The event that included Lazarus' death, burial, and resurrection there, because it points to Jesus. And there's so much to unpack in that I feel like every time I do, I leave so much more hanging for the future, and I just can't wait to share more about it.
So make sure you can join us this Saturday at 6 o'clock, or Sunday 8, 9:30, or 11, or online at 9:30 live, or on demand later. Make gathering. I know I say this a lot lately, but I know that during the summer we can get lax in our choosing to gather. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Make gathering a priority. Being with God's people, being with his family, connecting to Jesus, connecting to one another, and connecting to his mission. Make that your priority this summer, and make it your priority for your kids and for your grandkids, and while you modeling it. So show up. Even if it's online, show up, making gathering a priority. Until we see each other again, church, you are sent. Have a great day.
There you go.
Bye, baby.